Hello and welcome to From the Marginlands, a fortnightly podcast where we explore the intrinsic connections between us and our environment. Prem, why do you think it's important to do what we're doing in terms of this podcast?
Well, we've been talking about it for what, 2 years now? And the reasons that we started talking about it still remain relevant. In fact, they've become increasingly relevant. Why did we start talking about it? Because when we were doing field trips and we kept coming across things that took us by surprise or that showed us, despite what we thought we knew, we got different perspectives on what was happening to the environment, what was happening with climate change, how lives were being affected. We realized that there wasn't enough reporting on that. To an extent, that's what you did with Marginlands. It's what we are doing with the project that we are currently on, but those things have large gestation periods. A book doesn't happen overnight, so I would imagine that the second book, which the process has just begun, would probably take a year of reporting, followed by the writing and the editing and all of that. Meanwhile, a lot of things are happening, and some of these are urgent. They are important to know in the moment. So, where do we record these things? How do we create an ongoing record of what is happening in the world around us? I think that was the proximate reason that we came up with when we first started discussing the podcast. And increasingly, if you notice, the media space for such reporting is increasingly getting truncated. So that becomes another reason, a contiguous reason for doing this. How do you see it?
Um, for me, I think pretty much that. I think both of us, if we had to broadcast our WhatsApp chats, for example,
Hmm.
I think it would be a stream of consciousness, witness bearing to both what's happening in our lives as well as what's happening in the world. And I find just going back and reading those chats sometimes so illuminating because we come from it from different perspectives. I come from everything, I look at it from a certain lens. You look at it from a certain lens. And I think those two coming together, it teaches me a lot, I know. And I'm hoping that it'll also be as useful as instructive to our listeners. And like you said, we've been talking about this forever, and there isn't a parsing of what we are seeing, what we are reading, um, and um, and a critical reading of the news, which I feel you do wonderfully well, and I think that's wonderful to I think bring to our viewers as well. So all in all, I think for me it was a very selfish endeavor because I knew I would learn a lot from you, and it would be recorded for posterity. So two wins there.
Yeah. Leaving aside the question of who learns what from the other reason which I should have mentioned right in the beginning, and it's probably a very important part of why I want to do this, is on the field trips that we have taken, including the most recent one, uh, it's not so much what we saw, what we observed. It is the conversations that we had, and that keeps prompting me to. We need to listen more, and we need more diverse voices in our ear. And I think for me, this podcast is also a way of connecting with our viewers or our listeners. And I'm hoping that they don't sort of stop with just watching, listening, and going away. I hope they engage. I hope they tell their stories. I hope they come up with their experiences, because for me, frankly, that is when I learn the most. Things that I thought I knew, people completely upend in 5 minutes of conversation when we're on the road. Uh, so yeah, I'm hoping that
Yes.
this serves as a cue for that kind of conversations.
Absolutely. And I think readers and listeners, if you guys are watching this, a key reason why we are doing this is so that we can hear from you. And so please do use marginlands@gmail.com. Write in. Questions are welcome, comments are welcome, suggestions are welcome, what to talk about, what to maybe something that you didn't understand or you want to know how to um, even think about something. It's so confusing these days. There are so many different sources which are speaking so many different things, and you really don't know who to believe and who not to. And it's a confusing world out there. So write in. We'll do our best. I think the best thing. I think what Prem was just talking to is what people tell us is what makes us go back and do so much homework. We really start doing research and say, maybe this is why this person said this, or, what is happening here that made this person say this? And so those perspectives are so crucial in our learning process, our collective learning process. And so please do write in. If it's something you saw, you heard, talked to someone who is different from the kind of bubbles we all live in, share that with us. We'll throw it up on the screen for everyone to learn. And I think it'll be just fantastic. So do write in. This is a dialogue. It's not just a conversation. It's not just one way. So we really want this to be two ways. So do write in. It'll be fantastic. We hope to hear from you, and we hope you enjoy from the Marginlands.